men, and I use the term loosely. I wasn't going to video anything today, but I ran into having to do kind of an unusual setup over here. I'm working on my bike. This needs to be made round because it's going to be the oil filter base for kind of a special arrangement I'm making. Anyway, I could chuck this up in a Forja and just turn it round, but you know, that's a lot of material, so I wanted to cut the corners off to get it to be 8-sided. So I got here a V-block that somebody had cut off of a longer V-block. Got this in an estate sale. This was a chunk of aluminum about, I don't know, 18 inches long. Got this at an estate sale too, and literally paid pennies for it. If I bought a piece of aluminum, this thing was about 3 3/8 by, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, and it was 18 inches long. If I went out and bought this, it'd probably be $80. Do I wish I had a piece of round stock? Yeah, that would be easier. But this is what I got, so this is what I'm using. But anyway, V-block over here to keep it at a 45-degree angle. I got two, I don't know what you call these things, these clamps or spacers or standoffs, whatever you want to call them, propped up against each other so that the pressure the jaw puts on the block is, you know, even. If I didn't have these in here, the block would just, the clamp would just want to twist. And I got a another toe clamp and a tie bolt holding it down flat. So let's see if it cuts. You'll notice it's cut halfway. Well, this is how far I got until it popped out of there and got bound up. So hopefully I got it secure enough now that it ain't going to go anywhere. Yeah, so that works good. Anyway, kind of an interesting setup, so I thought I'd share that with you. One more to go. Once I got the other two corners cut off, it made the setup a lot easier. It didn't need the V-block anymore, just clamped it down in there, and pretty soon we'll have an 8-sided chunk of metal, and it's just going to save me a little bit of time on the lathe. I'll have, you know, I'll be making fewer chips because I'm not cutting off all these corners. And that takes care of that. Back when this thing was still a square, I drew lines corner to corner, center punched it. I put the center of the on my tailstock and lined it up with the center punch I made. And this, you know, this is not a moving part. There's nothing that rotates in or anything like that. It doesn't have to be real precise. It just has to hold an oil filter. So I'm going to turn it round. Once I get it turned round, I'll face it off. Then I'll have surfaces that are round and a surface that is flat and true. And I could take my measurements and, you know, center it up off of the finished surface when I get it finished. So let's make this 8-sided thing a round thing. Looks like it'll work. I'm going to go ahead and set up the power feed because I'm lazy. I had the half nut engaged. That was almost a disaster. That's better. Getting there. Yeah, it looks like one more pass ought to do it. Yeah, at least one more. I have been taking 40. I only took 20 on that last pass. Just a couple little spots. I'll do one more 20 thou pass. And that's good all the way around. Now, I need this chunk of metal to be just a scotch over 3 inches in diameter. Let's see if I got enough left to make this work. Well, I got 3.225, so yeah, that'll be just about perfect. All right, gonna put a center hole in here. There's going to be oil passageways drilled in here, or channel milled in there, or lathed in there. A threaded hole in here for the oil filter adapter, I guess. Don't know what size that is. We'll figure it out later. We'll take a couple more thou off of there. Ooh, that's nice. I'm going to figure out where to put the channel, one of the oil passageway channels. Got to figure out what size threads are going to go in there for the oil filter adapter. We'll do that in a little bit. I got a oil filter adapter fitting. I don't know where it came from, but I got one. It's got a one-way check valve in the bottom. Oil goes in that way, but it won't let oil go back out the other way. I don't know that I need that in there, but it's got one. I may or may not leave it. Anyway, point being is this. On these filters, oil goes in on the outside edge of the pleating, and it comes out through the middle. So if I do use the check valve, it's going to have to be installed so that oil is allowed to flow out this way. The thread on this thing is 3/4 inch fine thread. That's 3/4 by 16. I got a 3/4 by 16 tap, except it's a taper tap and I need a bottoming tap. I could just grind the bottom 3/8 of an inch off of this and turn it into a bottoming tap. This is probably, I don't know where I got this at. I don't know if I bought it or if it was in a bunch of estate sale shit or what. But this is probably a $30 or $40 tap. It's made in USA. It looks like a good one. Real nice surface finish on it. So I don't want to destroy this. I did get the hole started with this tap, but the hole isn't threaded deeply enough. I need to get at least another 6 or 7 threads in there. And it looks like there's, I drilled the hole deep enough to accommodate this thing. So I'm going to get if I can't find a bottoming tap on Amazon, I'm going to buy a cheap Chinese one and grind the last, 6 or 7 threads off of that so that I could turn it into a bottoming tap and use it here. The next thing I got to do, since oil flows in through these holes here, is I've got to machine a relief in here so there could be a channel into which oil could flow to enter the filter. I'm going to do that next. This is an oil filter gasket. So the channel I cut has got to be, between the inside diameter of the channel and the outside diameter of this adapter fitting. So I'm just going to eyeball it and, do it by hand. So we'll see where it ends up. I'm going to switch tools so I could get something that cuts a little deeper. Okay, this tool, kind of interesting. This edge of this tool cuts pretty good. This edge does not. And when I look at it more closely, I could see this edge is a little dicked up, so I'm going to switch tools. Actually, now that I look at this a little closer, I think what's happening is the bottom edge of the tool right in here is hitting this edge. So I think I'm going to try the same carbide insert again, and I'm going to grind a little bit off of the tool holder. Yeah, I think that's going to get me a little more depth of cut. Nope, still hitting. Son of a bitch. You know, as I'm doing this editing and looking at this video, I could also have just raised the tool in the tool holder so that it was above center line, and that would have given me some more clearance too. I think that'll work. That looks pretty good. I'm going to have to drill a hole down in here and then an intersecting hole from this, from this direction. And I'm going to wait until I have a chance to fit it up on the motorcycle so that for purposes of routing the lines in the most optimal position, I could figure that out before I drill the holes. So I got to drill 2 holes. One's going to have to go in to intersect with this inside part, the return back to the tank, and the other one is going to have to intersect with this outside part, which is the output of the suction pump back to the tank. But like I said, I'm going to wait till I get this fitted up on the engine so that I know where to put my holes exactly. When this is screwed in all the way, the thickness of this nut has to be flush with the outer surface of the adapter so that the filter will screw on all the way, because the filter is going to hit this hex before the gasket squeezes down on the outside of the filter element. So I might do that now. I did some crude measuring, and it looks like if I take 70 thou off of this face, that'll allow plenty of room for the nut to fit down below this lip, or as much of the nut as needs to fit down below this lip, so that the gasket will tighten up before it bottoms out, before the inside of the filter bottoms out on the nut. So yeah, 60 thou. I got a dial indicator down here. You can't see it, but I have it set at 0 with the cutting tool touching. So all I got to do is move the cross slide in until I hit 60 thou in depth. All right, that should do it. I probably could part this off. I'm going to think about it and see, take some measurements and make sure I got enough material left over here to put my oilers in, my oil fittings in, and figure out where to part this off exactly. All right, so I did some rough calculations, and in order to accommodate the holes I have to drill in sideways in this thing to route the lines where they need to be, route the oil passages where they need to be, I need this to be about 1.25 inches and 1.25 inches deep, and I'm not quite there yet. So I'm going to have to flip it around, zero it out, machine this off so that I could find a spot 1.25 inches away and make a cut mark on it. So yeah, we're going to flip this around, zero it out, and smooth off the remainder of this thing. All right, I took my part over to the bandsaw, cut off the part I didn't need, put it up in the forejaw, and got it within a couple of 10 thousandths of 0. So this is good to go. We're going to make this all round and we're going to face this off. And what's left is going to be the part that I'm going to use. Get the dial indicator out of the way. I think that'll do it. The bottoming tap showed up overnight, so I can take this hole out to the bottom now. I opted to buy a real bottoming tap instead of cutting the last 5 or 6 threads off of a cheap Chinese one. And I think that bottom right there. Looks good. I did some edge finding and some ciphering. It's always dangerous when I do some ciphering because I ain't really no good at it. But I try. Located the center of the adapter here and located how far away from this edge I wanted to drill the hole that's going to intersect with the oil return to the tank. So we're going to kiss it with the center drill. Make sure I got the chuck tight in the middle. And conveniently enough, the center drill lines up with the line I scratched in here on where I thought it should go, so that's a good sign. And we got to tap drill it. Looks like I got to raise the column up a little bit. Tap drill size for a 1/4 inch NPT. And then we'll see if this fits in here. I got the taper reamer. Taper reamer is too fat, so plan B on the taper reamer. We'll see how this works. Kind of push down on the quill while I'm turning the reamer. I'm going to go all the way up to the shoulder on the reamer. All right, the shoulder of the reamer is hitting the adapter surface. Oh, nice. Okay, now, at the suggestion of one of you viewers, I have an interrupted thread tap, which I've actually read now in a couple of places, should cut much easier than a non-interrupted thread tap. So let's see how this works. Of course, in my previous efforts, I was cutting into steel, not cutting into aluminum, so it should be easier no matter how you look at it. And frankly, it's turning harder than I thought it was going to turn. Interesting. Threads look nice though. I'm going to go get a standard pipe thread tap and see how it works. Be right back. Yeah, looking down in there, looks like I got about 4 threads cut. I like to get 6 or 7, I think. Could have get a bigger wrench. Yeah, a little more leverage always helps. Yeah, I got a couple of more threads. Gonna go back with the interrupted cut tap. See how it feels with the bigger wrench on it. So that's only like 2 turns on some bitch. Man, I'd like to get more out of it than that. Okay, maybe 3. I'm gonna try to get a little more out of it. Okay, it's getting tight. I think I'm cutting again. I like to get 2 more full revolutions out of it. Let's see what I do here. That's a half. I don't think I'm going to get much more than that. Let's try a little bit more. It's about 3/4. That's about 1. Maybe 1 1/4. Might be 1 1/2. Yeah, I'm getting the 2. Calibrated elbow tells me I'm about to break something, so I just loaded up a fresh battery. Yeah, I'm pretty much there. The calibrated elbow tells me I'm about to break something. So let's take this out. Oh, the threads look good. And let's run the non-interrupted cut tap down in there. Yep, that's it. Not gonna push my luck. You know, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to live with that. Let's see. That's 1 full turn, 2 full turns, 3, 4, 5 full turns. I think that'll do it. All right, for now, that's all the treatment this piece is going to get. I have to drill one more threaded hole in it for the supply out of the crankcase into the filter. I'm not going to do that till I figure out the oil line routing so that I know where on the circle would be the most optimum place to put this thing. So yeah, that's it. Okay, here's of course the threads for the oil filter adapter. Here are the threads that I just tapped for the 1/4-inch pipe. Yeah, and you could see there where the line where the drilled hole intersects with the other drilled hole, almost exactly dead nuts on. Very happy with this. It should work well. So you won't see this again until I'm ready to drill the other hole and install it on the motorcycle. All right, here's the final wrap up on this oil filter adapter, okay? This is the mounting adapter. I don't know where I got this. I got it out of another bike somewhere, who knows where. The only thing that matters is whether the threads, whether I was able to match the threads. And yeah, I was. These are 3/4 16. So the threads match. I threaded this to match, and this then matches the filter. As you recall, this doodad had a check valve in it. Here's the check valve, and this looks suspiciously like exactly the same check valve as what is in the oil discharge port of the G rotor style oil pumps. I don't know that I'm going to put this in. Most filters and adapters don't have one, so that may not go back in there. It can if I need to. But anyway, this is going to go in here. Okay, this surface of this adapter is still a little bit proud of this mounting surface. But that's going to be okay because this is recessed below the surface of the filter by at least 1/4 inch. So when installed, that's what you're going to end up with. And this is the filter that came on this bike, and it's dented up. I'm not going to use it. It is, of course, going to get a new filter. But anyway, there you go. One hole drilled and tapped for the, let's see, this would be the oil discharge port. This would be coming out of here. And when I get around to finishing this up, I might stamp this with a OUT and the other one with IN for in. So yeah, this is done except for the one threaded hole. So, you know, I'm building this bike, and there's probably, you know, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 individual steps and operations that have to get carried out. I mean, this thing alone was probably 15 or 20 steps in machining. Started out with a square chunk, had to make it round, had to make it an appropriate thickness, had to machine the relief for oil passageway, had to finish one side, had to finish the other side, had to drill and tap a pipe thread hole in here, had to drill and tap a straight thread hole in here. You know, so there's 10, 15 operations in this thing, at least probably. And with that, I am out of here. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye. Men, if you like this channel and this content, the single most important thing you could do to help grow this channel is to hit the subscribe button. I also have new design coffee cups and stickers available. You know, I like the old coffee cups, but I like these new ones even more. Links are included in the description down below. And for those of you who really want to go the extra mile, you could join me on Patreon. Link is also included in the description down below. And to all of you who have watched these videos, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Bye.